So yesterday I explained to you that while Donald Trump was complaining that the Federal Reserve didn't give him the big federal funds rate cut that he wanted, he was deliberately ignoring that from August 1st on, his additional tariffs on China have really been hurting the stock market. And yesterday when we were producing the show, I said, as of right now, the stock market, the Dow, is down nearly 600 points, and it ended down more than 700 points, the worst day in 2019 so far. And the reason is Donald Trump's trade war, which includes now China devaluing its currency, which I'll talk about momentarily. And it is getting worse and worse. This is going to be terrible for Americans of all kinds. There are all sorts of moralistic arguments we can make about China and their behavior. But in the end, this is bad for Americans. Now the Dow is down nearly 6% just this month. It's August 6th, mind you, through August 5th, which we had two weekend trading days, or rather two weekend days that were not trading days, down nearly 6%. The Dow back down roughly to where it was in January of 2018, which is 19 months ago. S&P 500 down about 3% yesterday. NASDAQ down even more, 3.5%. So this is bad. And it's bad even for people who don't necessarily own lots of shares of stock, as I've described before. And you know what? China is going to keep messing with Donald Trump now that Donald Trump has declared trade war on China, a type of war, nevertheless. China has now allowed the yuan, their currency, to weaken beyond 7 yuan per dollar for the first time in 10 years. And Donald Trump is attacking them on Twitter, saying, quote, China dropped the price of their currency to an almost a historic low. It's called currency manipulation. Are you listening, Federal Reserve? This is a major violation which will greatly weaken China over time. Really get the feeling that Trump has China on the ropes, right? Like any second, China's going to relent and come to the table and give Donald Trump everything he wants. Yeah, obviously not. And it's important to understand this currency manipulation allegation, which is not untrue, by the way. China does manipulate the value of their currency for trade benefit purposes. By reducing the value of their currency, it makes it cheaper for other countries to buy stuff from China to import to their countries. If you get more yuan per dollar, you can now get more Chinese stuff per dollar, effectively making it cheaper. That's true. And it's not going to change the way that Donald Trump has been handling Chinese trade policy. It's having the predicted effect, which is that it's crashing out our stock markets. And in more bad news for the United States, China has asked state-owned companies to just stop buying agricultural imports from the United States altogether. So if you thought that American farmers had been getting crushed for the last 9 months, and they have been, as I've told you about, that has been nothing compared to what you are about to see upcoming. This isn't sustainable, but more importantly, Trump doesn't even understand how this stuff works. Trump's policy, to the extent you can call it policy, is driven by misunderstandings about the most fundamental elements of trade and economics and currency, combined with this attitude that he has of everything being a win-lose negotiation and who's the strongest and who's going to come out on top. Trump's so-called business experience, which was the reason that many people voted for the guy to begin with, his business experience, we were told, would translate really well to being president. And we knew that that was a joke. Anyone who had any common sense knew that was a joke. Trump's business experience is daddy gave you money to get started. Everyone around you was constantly brown-nosing, and you just ignored all the rules all the time while bossing people around. Things are different now. Yes, Trump, what hasn't changed is Trump has still surrounded himself with the brown-nosing sycophants. That's the same as when Trump was in business, but Trump has tried taking the same sort of attitude with China, and China is not, some concrete or steel company that Trump has over a barrel. This is not looking good, period, no matter your political affiliation, and that's what I hope people understand. It doesn't matter whether you're for or against abortion. This is bad, bad, bad. There's no sign of it getting better, particularly when the president sees it all as sport, wins and losses, without even understanding what the definition of winning actually is. It's going to get even worse, unfortunately. Today's program brought to you in part by Blinkist.com/Pakman. Blinkist is a great service that I use all the time. What they do is they take thousands of the most popular nonfiction books, including the newest bestsellers. They condense them into 15-minute audiobooks that you can listen to, and you still get the most crucial information and insights from each book. And I've listened to a ton of books on Blinkist. I recently checked out Soccernomics by Simon Cooper. We do have, after all, the World Cup going on recently. We also have been talking about BS Jobs, and there is a great new book, BS Jobs by David Graeber, which I listen to on Blinkist. They're constantly adding new books to the platform. You will never run out of fascinating and critically acclaimed books to enjoy. And our audience can get a 7-day free trial by going to Blinkist.com/Pakman. If you're watching on YouTube, I'm putting a link in the video description. And after the free trial, if you like it, you can continue enjoying thousands of condensed audiobooks for about $5 a month. That's BLINKIST.com/PAKMAN.